So I was being obedient, right? I have been called to pivot within the last couple of weeks on multiple occasions. And I remember talking to my scholars about sharing an experience with how when we started this last semester, how I envisioned it to be, how I wanted it to be, right? But we know that the universe, in a lot of cases, has its own way of doing things. And it is not the universe that is against us, it is us being too attached to outcomes, right? Or how things should flow. And we should be like nature and be unpredictable, right? We should trust in the unknown, right? And this is a mindset that I don't want to say stress, but I make sure that I pour into our youth, right? So we don't have any more victims out here. So there was a multitude of things that were occurring, and I'm feeling the resistance within my being. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling all of the emotions, right? Because I'm pouring my heart into this work. And this is what it means when we have to pivot. Because my initial thought was to do something one way, and then the way that time progressed and how my lessons happened, it wasn't allowing because of the way I had things structured. So I pivoted, right? And I said, okay, you're still going to get this work. You're still going to get this medicine. Switch. We're going to do it like this. But this other way, stressing me out. It's not working. Right? So here I am, feeling as if I'm going into doubt, worry. You know what I'm saying? Feeling all of these emotions. Feeling all of these things. And then I have to pivot again. Bam. Okay. And where I ended up pivoting that last time is exactly where I was supposed to be. Right? That was the first initial thought. But I just had to restructure the way that I was doing things, right? And oftentimes we get to that space and that place, but it doesn't even have to be that. Go through all of those pivots, right? You just tap in, right? And to do what you originally sought out to do. This is why I pour into our youth. Follow your first mind. Make that connection. Because by the time you reach my age, I want that connection to be so... like, there's no second guessing. You just know. Something comes up, you follow. Right? No doubt. Regardless to whoever is around you, you are so firm in your being and trusting your being, right? That's what I desire for our youth. And as I was seeing the pivot, I was seeing soldiers and I was hearing about face. And it's like, how many times you gonna keep? The real shift is not the 360 because you end up at the starting point. I mean, you could complete that cycle, yeah. But sometimes a shift is when you just hit that 180 real quick. So I said all of that in being transparent in what I've been feeling right over the last couple of weeks and what has been coming up for me is that I'm trusting and I'm sending you love and support and not being too attached to the outcome, to allow yourself to sit with your shit enough to really strengthen your connection, so you're not moving out of fear, so you're actually in the flow, right? So you don't have to keep repeating things and going through things, or having the, man, I should have followed my first mind instinct. I am trusting that everyone who hears this, who may be experiencing something, that you will trust yourself, lean into the unknown enough to trust it, and to not have this skewed viewpoint of what you think things are supposed to look like, and allow yourself to be open to receive the divine inspiration to flow, to grow, and to be. To be able to know when it's time to pivot, to know when it's time to remove yourself, right? It ties into my other video of the loyalty. You have to be ready to pivot. You gotta be ready to go. You gotta be ready to take that leap. You gotta be ready to jump off the porch. And it's all tied to alignment. Are you aligned in this season? Are you aligned with your reason? Are you aligned with your thoughts and your patterns, your behaviors, your habits? If things are not in alignment, that causes the need to pivot. And I'd rather we get in the habit of pivoting because it's time to make a shift, versus pivoting because we weren't listening, because we were too complacent. Because that pivot that's where all of the emotions come in, right? That inner child, that inner teen, that young adult, those versions start to combat with the current version who's actually doing the present day work. Excuse me. So, do not be afraid of pivoting. Change is inevitable. But again, when we are not in alignment, that's when it calls for the pivot. I love you. Peace.